In this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about frames and framesets. You can use frames to divide your webpage into different sections. Before I can talk about frames, I first need to explain you something about the basic HTML code. So this is the basic code, and as you can see, it always starts with HTML and it always ends with it. In between you have head, you have title, and you have body. Within a normal HTML document, this body tag is very important because all of your links, all your images, and all your text needs to be written within this tag. What's so special about a web page you're creating your frames in is that you don't use this body tag. So there's not any actual information in this HTML web page. So you may ask yourself, if you can't use this body tag, how can I get any information, any text, links or images in my web page? Well, if you look at this image, I can show you. Let's say this is the HTML file I'm creating my frames in. In this case, I've created 3 frames. So this frame, and this frame. Just creating the frames is not enough. Another thing we need to do is to connect each frame to an individual HTML file. So in this case I chose the file topbar.html. Over here I chose menu.html, and over here I chose container.html. So now we're going to use this example to create our own set of frames. So let's go back to Notepad. And the first thing we need to do is to insert a doctype declaration. So before HTML, I'm going to paste this declaration. And what this is, it's not a tag, it's not an HTML tag, and it always comes first, so you place it before the HTML tag. What it does is it tells your web browser in what version of HTML you're writing your HTML code in. This also allows me to create frames. That's what this part is for, the frameset element. So now we can start by creating our own frames. So we're going to erase body and write down the following frameset. Close the frameset tag. Okay, so now we've defined a frameset. What this means is that I'm just telling HTML I want to create frames. Within the frameset tag I can have multiple frame elements, which means I can create several frames within one frameset. You could either have rows or columns. So in this case, when we go back to the image, I want one row, this is a row, and I want 2 columns. So now we go back to Notepad, and first we're going to create the top bar. So we're going to create the row. So type in rows is, and I would like to have a frameset row of 100 pixels. You can also just write down 100, that's also possible, and you can also create rows and columns with percentages, but right now I'm just using 100 pixels. So now we've created a row, and now I need to make a connection with an HTML file. So I need to make a connection with topbar.html. So now I'm going to create topbar.html. So new, save as, and I'm going to save it as topbar.html. Okay, just to be able to distinct all my HTML pages, I'm going to give this page a background color. So I'm going back to index.html. I'm going to copy and paste this code. Remove the frame set. And type in BG color to give it a background color. And let's say this will be blue. Now we've created our topbar.html file, and now I'm going to make the connection with this HTML file. So type in frame search, topbar.html, so now we've created our first frame. Now let's see what it looks like in the browser. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to launch it. Okay, so now you see we're in index.html, but there's a problem because I only wanted one row and I want it to be 100 pixels, and as you can see now it's the whole page. So something went wrong, so I need to go back to Notepad and we're going to make some changes. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create another row. So type in a comma over here. This will tell HTML you want a new row, and I'm just going to insert a star. Now I'm going to save again, and I'm going to show you what it looks like now. Refresh, and now you can see we've made two rows. So this is the topbar.html file, which is 100 pixels, and the rest of the space is assigned to the second row. Because we're not going to use this second row, I'm not going to give it its own HTML file. So now we can start and create our columns. So I want to create a sidebar and a container, and we're going to call it menu.html and container.html. So below frame search, type in frameset once again, but this time type in calls, and I want my sidebar, so my first column, to be 20%, and I want my second column, so the container area, to be 80%. So now I've created 2 rows, and I also filled in the percentages I want these frames to occupy. So now we're going to create 2 HTML files. So new, and then save as menu.html. And create another one, and this one I'm going to save as container.html. Okay, so we have 2 new HTML files, and I'm going to do the same like we did with the top bar HTML document. So I'm just going to copy and paste. My menu gets the color yellow, and container gets the color red. Okay, so now everything has a color. What I did right now is I'm just using the basic color names, so red, blue, yellow. But when you do this yourself, you can better use color codes. So you can look it up on the internet, and you can find the HTML color codes, and you actually have websites like this. I can show you, and you can actually just click on the color you want, and then below you can you can get the color code that comes with it. So for instance, if I wanted to have yellow, I would click over here, I would select yellow, I would copy and paste this code, I would go back to Notepad, and I would say first I'm going to put in this element, then copy and paste, and then this would be the yellow color. So that's how you can also create background colors or colors for text. But right now I'm just using red. I'm going back to my HTML document where I create my frames in, and I'm going to frame search both these HTML pages. So the first one, the 20% one, should be menu.html. So menu.html. And the second one will be container.html. Also close this second tag, because we have 2 frame sets, so you need to close them both. So now we've made our frames. So let's see what it looks like in the browser. Save, and I'm going to refresh my page. And now you can see every frame has a HTML file connected to it. What I don't like is this border in between, so I'm going to remove that. Behind frameset rows, type in border, and then 0. Save it again. Refresh your page, and then you have 3 frames without any borders. And this is how you create frames. A question that comes up a lot in YouTube comments is the following. Let's say I would like to create a link in this area. How could I affect another section within this web page? So let's say by clicking a link over here, I would like to open a new HTML file in the section what is now container.html. How do I do that? Well, let's go back to Notepad and we're going to index.html, and the first thing we're going to do is to give each frame its own name. So type in name and copy this tag a few times. So over here and over here. And what we're going to do, we're going to give each frame a name. So the top bar.html part, let's give this the name frame 1. The sidebar will be just sidebar, and this one will be front. So this one will be frame 1, this will be sidebar, and this will be front. Okay, now all of these frames have their own names. So now go to menu.html and we're going to create a new link. So write down href and then the closing tag a. So this is the tag to create a link, and I would like to link to a new page, so we're going to create a new link. So new file, save as page 1. Let's just keep small letters, .html. Now make a nice background. So just copy and paste from container.html. And let's give it a green color. Okay, now we've created our page. Go back to menu.html and type in page1.html. Give it the name page 1. So what we did now, we've created a link, we told HTML where to link it to, and we gave the link a name so we can actually click the link. So let's see what happens if I use this link right now. I'm going to save it and I'm going to refresh. Now you can see there's a new link over here. So when I click it, this area becomes green. So it means that the actual page where I created the link in changed into a new HTML file called page1.html. But I don't want that, because what I want is that when I click this link, page1.html should appear over here in this area. So let's go back. And we're going to insert a new tag called target. So what I want to do by using this tag is I want to target the link, this link, to another area within the web page. So I would like to link it to this area, the container area. So go back to index.html, and as you can see, we named that particular area front. So within menu.html, type in front. So now we have a link that is targeted to the front area, or the area which we gave the name front. So save again. Refresh. Then click on page 1, and now you see this area became page 1.html. But now I have a problem because I can't go back anymore to the previous file. I can't go back to container.html. So I'm going to create a second link. Let's create this link within the top bar area. So I'm going to give my top bar area a new color. Just write down white and type in our link tag, and the link has to be to container.html. We're going to name this link back, and I'm going to target this link again to the front area. So save your files, then go back to your browser, refresh, and now you can see we have a new link over here. So let's first click the link page 1. Now you can see it turned into page1.html. When I click the link over here, back, I'm back to the container.html file. Okay, so this was the end of my tutorial. Now you know how to create frames and how you can target your link to another area within your web page. So good luck!